No, I've come across a lot, but have y'all ever ran into someone who thinks that everything is a conspiracy? And I mean everything. They will tie everything into a conspiracy. And it just gets to a point where it's just like, wow, something actually might be wrong with you. Now, of course, there's this whole thing where conspiracists know that people think that they're crazy, but they feel validated when something actually does happen that they claim to have known. But while that can be accurate sometimes, what I want to draw attention to is the act of assumption and turns into someone thinking that they know something as a fact, which a lot of, is something that a lot of these conspiracists do, which is a dangerous thing that I might point out. Now, I'm not someone to not question things. I'll be the first person, and I'll tell you, I'll be the first person to tell you question things from anybody, from anything. But when I say question them, I don't say assert this, assert that this is that's true, assert that because this is fishy, that something is immediately wrong and it's a fact. I'll never be one to say that. I want people to have nuance, to have an open mind to what could be happening, the possibility. If I were to have a kid, if I were to have a son, I'd want him to question me. I'm not with all of that authority, this don't talk back nonsense. I would want my kid to point out if I'm being a hypocrite. That's how you know your kid is smart. If he can pick up on the fact that you're a hypocrite at a young age, that shows that your child is truly listening. The don't talk back to me nonsense is how you shut down critical thinking. I want my child to question things, even if I say it, because I don't believe myself to be some great final order. What I say always goes. If what I say could be potentially wrong, I want that to be called out. And that's something a lot of these conspiracists don't seem to get. They will look at somebody's eyes, and I kid you not, because of lighting, it could be off, and they'll tell somebody they sold their soul. Like, you cannot make this up. And even to worse extents, they will call people family sacrificial lambs when something happens, like a tragedy. It's so demented and deranged that you have to think to yourself that must genuinely be something wrong with these people that do this. Because if they
Actually had a head to rationally think. They could realize the same a picture where their eyes look dim, they could be called demonic. A time where they put their hands up and it looked similar to a sign, and they could be called a Freemason. People love
love to judge people and feel smart until it happens to them, it's all ego. Obsessed with being right about something, obsessed with being the first one to know. I've shown in one of my first videos about assumptions. You have people with millions making assumptions that could affect someone's life as deeply as their entire livelihood. And here's another example of a guy doing this. It's not to that extent, but he reflects a perfect example of this. So here it is.
YouTube's gonna censor the shit and have it hidden. And you literally deleted my fucking comment. You were a coward, bruh. You was a fucking coward. You are and I'm sub to you. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You's a coward. Rat. Anyway. Woo! Ain't that type of nigga. You ain't a real one, dog. You ain't a real one. You wear that Yankee fitted. You ain't from New York, homie. Take that shit off, bro. You ain't from here. You ain't no, yo, you ain't no nigga of mine, dog. Clown. The fuck out of here, bro. You do the same shit. You do the same shit the racists do. When a nigga comes up with a difference of opinion, you hide them. You censor them. You remove their shit. You's a coward, bro. You just like the white supremacists. Fuck out of here, bro.
Bro, yo, son is black and all him. Yo, nah, bro is ready to crash out. And like he even said it himself, bro, in the beginning. He said YouTube might have hid this, and like he's already jumping to the conclusion that Tony, he's a YouTuber who covers issues, social issues, that he deleted his post, like his big giant post. Like if I don't know if you saw, I'm gonna show it again. This large gigantic post. Someone wrote an excerpt, not some wrote a book report for YouTube, and he believes that this would naturally, generally go through. Like, come on, bro. There's a great chance that Antonio didn't even see it. There's a great chance that YouTube filtered that, and it was had nothing to do with Antonio personally. But instead of taking this nuance, instead of taking this potential that maybe he deleted it, but I don't know for sure. So I'm not going to accuse him of this. I'm not going to call him all these names. Instead of that, he jumped immediately into doing this. And I don't think he did it out of ego, which is something a lot of these conspiracists do. But it seems he did it mainly out of anger, as he's calling it himself. I guess I can see that he feels passionate about this. He's talking about his own life, real issues that exist, trying to bring awareness to this, but this is not the way to do it. And this is that mindset. This is the exact dangerous mindset that these quote unquote conspiracists have that I was talking about. Instead of having this nuance of this could be true, I'm going to keep alert. They have this, oh, I figured this out first, so now I'm going to claim it first. It's a fact, and anyone who says otherwise is a sheep. Have that sort of unfortunate mentality that deteriorates their own health. But I mean, I don't believe this guy to be one of those people. I mean, the comment brought this up, and he even acknowledged that yes, he was in the wrong for doing such, and that he takes it to the worst. He imagines the worst case scenario. But granted, I mean, if you can acknowledge this, then why upload the video with the full accusations and such and such? But even so, it's good he could at least come to the realization, unlike these conspiracists that can hypothesize about anything but some bread. I do want to point out this guy's energy in this video because I think it perfectly captures the mind process of these conspiracists.
I love analyzing what I say because there's a lot of hurt and trauma in the things that I talk about. I don't write this from out of nowhere. A lot of it is angry, but a lot of it comes from personal fucking trauma, dude. I acknowledge that.
What differentiates him from these conspiracy souls is that he actually has self-awareness and he can hold himself to that. He knows what's going on with himself. Though this could be the case for a lot of these people pitching in on things that they have little to no clue about because they feel like a situation might resonate with them personally. They feel like now because I've gone through it, this is what's going on, so I can call it out. And aside from the ego thing, this is more on the emotional side of things. People who will pitch in on stuff. And while again, yes, it can be true, it also can't.
Whew, you got me heated, homie. You got me heated. Sometimes you sound like I said that. But it's shit's hard to believe. White supremacy is
Bro could barely contain himself, bro. This is what I'm talking about. This guy was so angry, he was ready to crash. Like he could hardly contain himself.
whew, you got
Just sitting there had him worked up, and this was all over something he didn't even know was true. It was an assumption he made. I have nuance when you question things. Not everything is final, not everything is for sure. Again, just be optimistic. It's really not that hard to do without letting your ego get in the way. You can be Mr. I told it when you go 1 for 10 on the whack job theories. That's not even to take away from some of his points. I'm just saying this to call out the mentality to avoid.
Don't be quick to call a conservative leaning nigga a coon when we probably got fucked over by our own and refused to drink the poison. I don't like Trump and never would give him my vote, but I sure as shit would never vote for the party that made our women demonize us and destroy us in the courts. All the people you think are racist, I do as well, but you and Don are quick as fuck to label niggas who ain't leftist coons.
See, now I've never been someone for the whole political party nonsense on both sides, but I can see his point in saying that just labeling someone as, oh, you're a rap, just for saying something nuanced or neutral in the sense of I'm not taking a race side or I'm not taking a party side is just dangerous rhetoric and can eradicate any form of real conversation to be had. Like, for example, All Lives Matter as the movement, yes. Is it corny? Yes. Because they only started after the BLM movement started. So it wasn't even a matter of, oh, I actually care that all lives matter, because all lives do matter in the sense of no one simply born deserves to be discriminated. But simply saying all lives matter might get you looked at weirdly, even though you might not meet in the way of the way the people who started the movement meant, which was simply just to counter BLM. And the same for BLM. You can believe that without supporting the organization. So yes, have nuance when you hear something. Don't just go caveman when you hear buzzwords. But that's a story for a whole other video. And the same even applies to people who love per capita arguments to make crimes about race. When someone who's your race does a crime, what will you say about them? That they have mental problems? Well, the same can be said about anyone who does a crime. Just because of one race is doing it at a higher rate does not mean it. You can run a statistics diagram on anything and one race will be at the top. When it's your race, will you make an excuse? Some people just have stunted logic. And that could be a whole other. My point is, playing fake detective won't get you anywhere when you don't follow facts. You question things, have nuance. Not everything is final, and that's why you must have an optimistic mind. Lock in, stay in awakened states.